Hello. Did everybody miss me? I know some of you did. I know it's been like 2 weeks, I think, or maybe just over. But I hope everybody's doing good. I am doing okay. You missed me? Oh, I'm sure you did, monkey. I'm sure you did. Oh, yeah. I You've been crying every day. My back has been out for like the last week and a half, and it finally is feeling better again. And it just would have not been a fun time trying to stream with my back being horrifically, like, in pain. But how is, uh how is Halloween on your end of the planet? And anybody else, how is Halloween? How's Halloween going or been, depending on where you are? You're so happy to see me on your screen again. Tears of joy. When little kids look at me, they don't get tears of joy, they get, quite the opposite. Tears of fright. And that's without makeup on or anything. That's just me normally. They get tears of fright, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not. To me, I think it's a great thing. Get off my lawn. Oh, here we are. We're back. I'm back after, like I said, just a week and a half of back pain. Ugh, and just exhaustion. I'm not gonna play anything today. That's what's gonna make this so different. Is I'm gonna read scary stories and spooky stories and ghost stories and maybe some Edgar Allan Poe stories, and I don't know, I feel like doing something different. I don't feel like playing a game today, at least right now. A singing stream. No, that's not today. Not today. In the future though. We will do it again in the future. I promise. We need we need everybody here to do that. That's when it's fun. So if everybody is here, maybe. But who knows? But Monkey, how are you? How's streaming been going? I know I popped in a couple times to you, I think, or once. While my back, you know, wasn't literally screaming at me. um, but yeah, I'm gonna do something different. I kind of just want to do like a little Halloween, kind of, little short stories and some scary stories. And you're unemployed now. Did you quit? Please don't tell me you were fired. I don't think. I'd hope not. I know. Your job wasn't wasn't. No, you didn't quit, or no, didn't get fired. No, no is very no. Came back from vacation and was laid off. A tale as old as that sucks. That really sucks. A lot. Like a lot. Wow. I don't even know. I don't even know how to react to that. That's terrible. Who does that to a person? For real? Like who really does that? Spinning wheel. Yeah, yeah, I just saw it too. I don't know if it's me or it's probably me. I just lost power actually a little bit ago before I jumped on stream. So I'm assuming that is probably it. So hopefully my power doesn't go back out, because it went out real quick and came back on. So hopefully, because it's very windy here, like extremely windy, and it was rainy yesterday, like nonstop. Um, and so hopefully the wind doesn't doesn't knock me off the airwaves for your eye and ear holes. Okay, I almost forget how to stream. I'm like multitasking here. Um, because it's been like 2 weeks. Sorry, well, I'm taking care of some small things right here. Um, but yeah, hopefully my power is okay. Doesn't go back out because I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. But let's hope it doesn't go back out. Anyway, um, let's see. What do we want to do? What do I want to read? I know I want to read some stories. I don't know how long we're going to stream today. A couple hours maybe. See what happens. Maybe we'll jump back into Resident Evil if I feel like it. We are going to finish that game though. Read me a story. Uh, what do you think I am? A monkey? um, we can read a story. I actually have not pre-read any of these. Um, so hopefully they're not terrible. Um, hopefully hopefully some well, I do have a plan to read some of Edgar Allan Poe, some of his short stories. So I do know that they're not going to be bad at least. All right. So let's get going. Hopefully everybody else jumps in here at some point, maybe, because I know it's been a bit since I've been on streaming, so who knows how this stream's going to go. Anyway, what is this called? All right. I already I already don't like the name of this title. Who's in my bed? All right. Fall of the House of Usher. Yes, we can read that by Poe. Anyway, this short, very short, is called Who's in My Bed? A father went to say goodnight to his 11-year-old son, very well knowing that if he didn't, his son would have trouble sleeping. It was a nightly routine between them. He entered the dimly lit room where his son waited under his blanket. With the first glance, the father could tell there was something unusual about his son tonight, but couldn't put his finger on it. He looked the same, but a grin that drew from ear to ear. "Okay, buddy?" Question mark. The father asked. The son nodded, still with the grin, before saying, "Daddy, check for monsters under my bed." The father chuckled a bit before getting on his knees to check only to satisfy his son. There, under the pail, under the bed, pale and afraid, was his son. His real son. He whispered, "Daddy, there's someone on my bed." Okay. I don't know if that's scary. It could be if you treat me right. Okay. Oh. So in that story, it was actually the monster on the bed, not under. The actual son was under. That was the story. Yeah. 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 Apparently. That was short. That was really short. Yeah, apparently the monster was on the bed and the son was under. Ugh. Okay. This one's called it was a paragraph, I know. Actually, it was a paragraph. They're short stories. Emphasis on short. What do you want, like 10 chapters? Well, actually, Poes are a little long, so we'll get there. We're starting out slow with the shorter ones. Anyway, next story. This one is called The Red Wristband. A doctor was working at a hospital where patients were tagged with colored bands: green, meaning alive, red, meaning deceased. One night, the doctor was instructed to get a few supplies from the basement of the hospital, and so he headed to the lift. The lift doors opened, and there was a patient inside, minding her own business. Patients were allowed to roam the hospital to stretch, especially those who have stayed too long. The rule was to be back in their rooms before 10. The doctor smiled at the patient before pressing the number for the basement. He found it unusual that the woman didn't have a button already pressed. He wondered if she was also heading to the basement. The lift finally reached the floor where the doors opened. In the distance, a man was limping towards the elevator, and in a panic, the doctor slammed the elevator button to close it. And finally, it closed, and the lift began to ascend back up, the doctor's heart pounding. Why did you do that? He was trying to use the lift, the woman stated. Did you see his wrist? The doctor asked. It was red. He died last night. I would know this because I did his surgery. The woman lifted her wrist. He saw red. She smiled and said, like this one? She's dead too. The end. I'm done. Stream over. What are these stories? I don't know. Come on, that one wasn't that bad. That one was not that bad. I told you, I didn't read any of these beforehand. It was a fun stream. Listen, imagine that 16 minutes in and I'm done. Good night. Going to bed. Be like the shortest stream that I've ever done. All right. What else do we got here? This one's a little longer.
What's up, fuckers?
Your mystical presence adds a magical touch to our spooky tales. I like that. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. We are reading some really dumb so far spooky stories that are not so spooky. Right, Monkey? Except they're probably better than anything I could ever do myself. Monkey.
Dat Monkeys is just monkeying around.
You are. You're always monkeying around, right? Anyway, what else do we got? I got some longer ones. Let's do some longer ones. How about that? This one's called
You wanted me. Here I am.
Here I Am.
Dat Monkeys just checked in.
You know what's quite funny now? I now have the eye paint, so when Christian Bale comes back, it'll be a little better. Anyway, look at me.
Just checked in.
Thank you so much for the check-in. Both of you. Both of yous. Oh. All right. Halloween. Anyway. Oh, Christian Bale. I know. Christian Bale will be back. I promise. I promise. I keep saying it. And also I had back problems the last week and a half. But anyway, this story, Monkey, is a little longer. You know, here's your novel that you want. This one is called The Candle Man. Maybe that's what you should do. You should go make candles for a new job. Hey, I'm just giving you options. Don't hate. How about a novella first? I'm not reading a novella. Imagine if like I did it in like Spanish, like without even knowing Spanish. Imagine that. Like what are like the Spanish television like soap operas called? Like imagine if I did it like that. That would be a sight to see. All right. The next story. This one's called The Candle Man. The Candle Man can. Anyway, in the mist-shrouded village of Gloomwick, where the fog clung to the earth like a heavy blanket, and the night seemed to stretch on forever, there was a story that everyone knew, but no one dared speak of aloud. It was the tale of the Candleman, a mysterious figure who appeared only on the darkest of nights, carrying a single flickering candle. The elders whispered that of those who crossed paths with the Candleman, were never seen again, their souls trapped forever in the wax of his ever burning candle. Thomas was a boy with a restless spirit and a thirst for adventure, the kind that often led him into trouble. He had heard that the tale of the Candyman many times, told in the hushed tones of frightened villagers around the hearth. But unlike the others, Thomas did not fear the story. He was intrigued by it. He longed to see if the legend was true, to know if the Candleman was real, or just another ghost story meant to keep children in their beds. Candleman. Listen, it could be either one. It could be the Candyman. One night, when the fog was so thick that even the moon could not pierce through it, Thomas decided to test his courage. He waited until the village was asleep, the lights in the windows extinguished, and then he slipped out of his home, a small lantern clutched in his hand. The streets were deserted, the air heavy with an unnatural silence. The only sound was the soft crunch of his footsteps on the damp cobblestones. As he wandered through the empty streets, Thomas began to feel a chill creeping up his spine. The fog seemed to grow thicker with each step, swirling around him like a living thing, obscuring the path ahead. The houses of the village loomed out of the mist like ghosts, their outlines blurred and shifting. Thomas's heart began to race, but he pushed the fear aside, telling himself that it was just the fog playing tricks on his mind. But then he heard it, a faint, almost imperceptible sound, the flicker of a flame. Thomas froze, his breath catching in his throat. He strained his ears trying to locate the source of the sound, but the fog muffled everything. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw it, a faint, flickering light just ahead of him, barely visible through the swirling mist. Curiosity and fear warred within him, but Thomas couldn't resist the pull of the light. He began to walk toward it, his feet moving almost of their own accord. The closer he got, the more he could make out the figure holding the candle. The light revealed a tall, shadowy silhouette, its face hidden in the darkness, the candle burning brightly in his outstretched hand. Thomas's heart pounded in his chest as he approached the figure. The air around him grew colder, the fog so thick now that he could barely see his own hands. The candle's flame flickered and danced, casting long, eerie shadows on the ground. Thomas wanted to turn back, to run as fast as he could. But his body betrayed him, his legs carrying him closer to the Candle Man. It's probably my internet. I apologize. He couldn't move, couldn't breathe, as if the very life was being drained from him. His vision blurred, the world around him fading into darkness as his soul was drawn into the candle's flame. The last thing Thomas saw before the darkness claimed him was the Candleman's face, or rather, the absence of one. Beneath the hood, there was nothing but shadow, a deep, endless void that seemed to swallow all light. The Candleman turned, the candle now burning brighter than before, and disappeared into the fog, leaving behind nothing but the echo of Thomas's final breath. The next morning, the village awoke to a thick, oppressive fog that seemed heavier than usual. As the villagers went about their day, they noticed something strange at the church altar. A new candle, small and unassuming, burning with a steady, unwavering flame. The wax dripped slowly, each drop glistening like a tear, but no one questioned where the candle had come from or why it never seemed to go out. The villagers spoke in hushed whispers of Thomas's disappearance, but no one dared to suggest what they all secretly feared. And so the story of the Candleman continued, a cautionary tale passed down through the generations. The villagers would often glance at the candle on the altar, its flame flickering ever so slightly, and shudder at the thought of the souls trapped within the wax, their voices forever silenced. But at night, when the fog rolled in and the village was shrouded in darkness, some claimed they could hear the faint flicker of a flame and see a shadowy figure moving through the mist, carrying a candle that burned with the light of lost souls. And in those moments, the villagers would lock their doors and draw their curtains tight, praying that the candleman would pass them by and that they would not become the next to vanish into the night. Thank you. Kid got it coming. He had it coming. Should have never ventured out there. I'm a good reader. I am. If there's anything I am actually good at, that is probably it. If there's anything I actually am good at, it's probably the one thing. As long as my brain doesn't jump ahead of my words. Hello. That was a better story. Brian, how are you? Yeah, the short ones were not good. But welcome in. Welcome in, everybody. Brian, welcome in. Everybody else who's maybe popped in the last few minutes. We are reading some hopefully spooky, scary-ish stories today. You know, for Halloween. As a skeleton has taken over the stream today. I'm good, Brian. I'm well better. I'm I'm good today. I've had some back issues the last like 2 weeks, hence why I haven't streamed. Yeah. But I finally feel good. Well, better. My back feels much better. You know, don't throw your back out. Don't I don't recommend doing it to anybody. My eye itches so bad right now, just so you know. And I am trying so hard not to itch my eye. There's gonna be like streaks across my face by the end of this stream. Weird that you know, I thought about that today actually, that I chose a skeleton. I was actually trying to think of something witty, like something along the lines of like no blood cells or no white blood cells are gonna save this skeleton. He's already far too gone. So yes, I was on the on that page today. What did you want me to pick? Like a unicorn? Or a monkey? Oh, all right. What do we got next? Let's see. All right. So this next story is called The Hungry Doll. All right. In the quiet village of Greymore, nestled between rolling hills and thick forests, there was a tale whispered among the children, a tale of a doll unlike any other. The story was simple yet terrifying. Beware the hungry doll, they would say, a small porcelain figure with wide staring eyes and a mouth that seemed too big for its face. The doll, it was said, came to life at night, feeding on the souls of those who dared to neglect it. Sophie had always loved her dolls. She had a collection of them, each one carefully placed on a shelf in her room, their dresses meticulously arranged, their hair combed and braided. Her favorite was a rag doll with button eyes and a soft, stitched smile. But that changed one day when a package arrived from a distant relative, an aunt she had never met, who lived far away in a place Sophie could hardly remember. Inside the package was the hungry doll. Sophie's first impression was one of awe. The doll was exquisitely crafted, with a dress made of the finest silk and hair that shone like spun gold. Its porcelain face was delicate, almost lifelike, with wide, glassy eyes that seemed to follow her every move. But there was something unsettling about its mouth. It was slightly open, revealing teeth that seemed too sharp, too real. Sophie's mother, charmed by the doll's beauty, placed it on the shelf with the others. Sophie, however, couldn't shake that feeling. There was something wrong with the doll. She would catch its eyes staring at her, even when she wasn't looking directly at it. At night, the feeling intensified as if the doll was watching her, waiting. The first night after the hungry doll arrived, Sophie was awoken by a faint scratching sound, like tiny claws scraping against wood. She sat up in bed, her heart pounding, but the room was silent. She looked over at her shelf where her dolls sat in a neat row. The hungry doll in the center, its eyes wide open, gleaming in the dim light. She told herself it was just her imagination, and eventually she fell back asleep. But the next morning, something was different. Her favorite rag doll had been moved. It was no longer sitting upright with the others, but was instead slumped over, its button eyes facing the wall, as if it had been deliberately turned away from the hungry doll. Sophie frowned, but her mother dismissed it, saying it must have fallen over during the night. But Sophie knew her dolls never moved on their own. The scratching sounds continued every night, growing louder and more insistent. Sophie began to dread the nights, lying awake in bed, clutching her blankets tightly as the sound crept through the darkness. She started to notice other changes too. Her dolls were often found in different positions, their faces turned away from the hungry doll, as if they were trying to escape its gaze. Sophie tried to ignore it, but the fear gnawed at her. She began to feel like a prisoner in her own room, unable to escape the doll's watchful eyes. She tried to move the hungry doll to a different shelf, but no matter where she placed it, its eyes seemed to follow her, always watching, always waiting. One night, Sophie awoke with a start, a cold sweat clinging to her skin. The room was deathly silent, the air thick with oppressive stillness. She felt a presence in the room, something dark and malevolent. Slowly, she turned her head and I don't know what just happened. Did my power just flicker out? Am I still here? Am I good? Are we good? I think my power flickered. No! Oh, noes.